Hello people, and welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time on the channel, a special welcome to you. I ask that you check out the rest of my videos. If you like what you see, give them a thumbs up, leave a comment, but more than anything, I'm asking that you subscribe to the channel. Today, once again, I'm going to be talking about a subject that was actually suggested by one of my subscribers. One of my subscribers has asked me to cover the issue of voting rights for Jamaicans living overseas. So the first thing I did was research the subject because personally I didn't know whether Jamaicans had a right to vote while living overseas or not. And unfortunately, Jamaicans at the moment do not have a right to vote while living overseas. Unlike British citizens who have a right to vote while living overseas to up to 15 years. They've got a cap on that. I also researched the United States of America and its citizens, and the United States of America's citizens also have a right to vote while living overseas. I didn't find any cap on that, so I don't know how long can you live overseas and still be an active voter. However, I could see where if Jamaicans were given that right while living overseas, it making an impact on how government is structured in Jamaica. I have a strong belief that the voting aspect and the electoral procedure, or results I should say, would be totally different. And I say that because Jamaicans living in Jamaica has one view and Jamaicans living overseas has another view. So I think with the combination of both views, we would create a different kind of contrast, not necessarily a negative contrast, but what I said in one of my last video was that a fish living in an aquarium and a fish living in the ocean sees the world two different ways. For example, Jamaicans that living in, let's say, the United States of America, where politics and voting rights and citizens' right is more of a transparent thing, comparing to, say, Jamaica, where it's more of a monopoly and people still don't quite understand their rights or what they can or cannot do when it comes to putting someone in the office. I mean, Jamaicans know that put your X beside the necessary party's icon and that's where your vote goes. But at the same time, I personally believe that most Jamaicans lack the knowledge of their democratic powers. I don't think Jamaicans know that, for example, Andrew Olness works for them or the MP works for them. I still believe that some Jamaicans are of the impression that this MP, he's the power that be, and once we're voting him, we pretty much can't get him out of office. So I do believe that if overseas Jamaicans have a say in the votings in Jamaica, things would be different. And I believe that all Jamaicans should have a say, as long as you still hold that citizenship, as long as you still hold that passport. Some of us are naturalized Canadian, naturalized American, naturalized British, and so on and so forth. Those people, I would say, no, considering that you're a naturalized citizen of this country, I don't think you should have a say in Jamaica's politics. However, at the same time, I do agree with a cap. I mean, you can still be a Jamaican citizen, but I think if you have not lived in Jamaica over 10, 15 years, technically you've been out of touch. So I would say, yeah, put a cap on it. After researching the subject, I was surprised to see that the Minister of Foreign Affairs actually said it's not something that will be on the Jamaica's government agenda anytime soon. That was disappointing to read, but at the same time, where government and law is concerned, everything can be resolved with a petition. So if there are a bunch of Jamaicans out there that believe that I want to have a say in Jamaica's politics, there's a lot of diaspora groups, and you guys can petition those groups or let your concern be heard by these groups and come together and then petition Jamaica's government and see where that go. I'm not saying it will be a success overnight, but I believe that with petitions, and the more people that's on the petition, it forces the government hand more. Keeping in mind, Jamaica is built on democracy, or the Jamaican government, the framework at the moment is democracy. So the people has a say, the people has a voice, but we have to exercise our say and our voice in the required manner, which is a legal manner. So while I'm at it, I would just like to throw out kind of a tiny poll to ask my viewers and my subscribers. Do you think Jamaicans overseas should have a right to vote? Yes, and why? Or no, and why? I'm curious to hear. And where my voting is concerned on that poll, I believe that Jamaican overseas should have a right to vote up to a certain amount of years that they live overseas. I think I would cap it at maybe 10 years. If you have lived overseas more than 10 years without returning back to Jamaica for more than 6 months, in a way you can be seen as you have abandoned Jamaica. You know, let me know if y'all agree with that. On another note, you know, keeping in line with Jamaicans overseas, I must say that there is this thing going on in Jamaica that I have experienced. I don't know how long it's been going on, but I've experienced it. It's as if once you've left Jamaica and you've lived overseas, when you return to Jamaica, it's like you're not seen anymore as a Jamaican. You're seen as a diluted Jamaican. And I might be smiling about it, but on a serious note, it's as if Jamaicans treat you as if you don't belong. Whether you're there on a vacation or whether you're there, especially if you go within the local and you are now associating back with your families and friends, it's like, if you've stayed in Jamaica for more than, let's say, a month, you're suspected to have been deported, or if you've decided to return to Jamaica, you're suspected to must be running from something. Jamaicans have this stigma that everywhere else is better than Jamaica. And truth be told, that is not true. That is not true. Jamaica is a beautiful country, and I'm not just talking about sunshine and white sand beach. I'm talking about Jamaica on a whole. Even the people, even even your neighbors that you can't stand. When you go abroad and you live among foreigners and associate yourself with new cultures, it helps you to appreciate every aspect of Jamaica. Some of us, it takes for us to have lived abroad to realize how beautiful our people are and how beautiful our country is. So let's not take Jamaica for granted. And the next time you see a returnee Jamaican, embrace them. Let them know that they're more than welcome home, and let them know that it is home, you know, because I've had an experience myself, and I've heard a lot of Jamaicans who've lived abroad for a while who return. They get treated a little differently, as if they are no longer Jamaican, and I can't really wrap my mind around that. I mean, I'm not only talking about the double standard of pricing things, you know how it is. The minute someone senses that you have lived abroad, or they detect any bit of a foreign accent out of you, the price for a red stripe go up, the price for jackfruit go up, the price for anything that you're buying go up, because now you have lived abroad. It's like you have to pay Jamaicans, vendors, this additional tax for the simple fact that you've left the country to seek a better life, or just to go see what the big deal about foreign is all about. The minute you come back to Jamaica, is as if, well, you're no longer one of us. So I want my viewers and my subscribers to help me out with this one, because the answer that I have for it is pure speculation. It's what I think some Jamaicans think, why they treat you this way or why they treat you that way. The last times I've been to Jamaica, I've really been to Jamaica in a tourist mode. And although when I go to Jamaica, I do associate with family, and my wife do associate with her family as well. We have had the experiences that when we enter a store or when we stop to support a vendor, the treatment is definitely different. And I can't say I appreciate it, because we are Jamaicans, and when we live abroad, abroad is definitely not home. So when we come home to Jamaica, even if we're just there on a vacation, we would love to feel like we are home. Don't take it too serious, but help me out. Help me to figure this one out. I just thought to add it to this particular subject to see how the answers is going to come back to me, to see if you guys are thinking along the same lines that I'm thinking. So, people, thanks again for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sharing my content. On this channel, I'm open to criticism. Good comments, bad comments, they're all welcome. Because, like I always say on my channel, each one teach one. Until next time, people. Peace.